Hey!
Hey!
All right, this is the last show of Face to Face to Face, and for the last show,
we're live.
We're doing something very special. What are we doing?
Facebook Living.
Yeah, we're Facebook Living, so this is live and in person.
But so I want to do a little test before we get the actual show started. Usually we edit the heck out of the show, and I don't have that ability. So I have with me a switchboard.
Does that mean I can't swear?
I won't be able to stop you. But I have a switchboard, and we're going to test it out to make sure it even works so we can cut. Switchboard, the idea is it'll cut. Right now we're in a two-shot, and watch this. Cut to Matt. Cut to Greg. Cut to Matt.
All right.
Cut to Greg. Cut to Matt.
What was that?
What? Nothing.
What?
No, you didn't see anything? Let's try it one more time.
What?
Cut to Matt. Cut to Greg.
What? Wait, what was that?
That is fantastic. You have a sock in there?
Well, you know, the thing about it is that it's beautiful.
To some people, it's an acquired taste. Not my acquired taste.
Well, here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
I myself happen to have a video.
What do you mean?
I mean...
Oh, the one you sent me?
Yeah.
What about it?
Well, I cut to that.
Cut to that now?
Yeah.
All right, video. This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I have this dance? How do you like that?
Cut to opening credits.
Okay, we're live.
We're live. Last show ever.
Last show ever.
How do you feel about that?
I feel like, is my shirt open enough?
It can't be open enough, Greg.
I agree. So what are we doing? We're live. Let's not waste people's time.
Yeah, let's not mess around, and we don't have time to do your little games of talking about your shirt.
Yeah.
So we have games to play, surprise guests, but who is our final guest? Who gets the honor of the final guest ever?
It's Jim Beagler or James Austin.
No, it's never been James Beagler.
It's Jim Beagler or James Austin.
But what's interesting is, okay, so if anyone, and I assume anyone who's watching this, we have a very small niche audience, knows us from middle school, high school, they know that Jim was us. Like, you couldn't see either of us probably.
That explains why he was so big. Oh, no.
Nice. You know what's great is Greg was such a good friend, he took all of Jim's fat and just ate it, put it in his gut. Just for Jim. That's a friend. That's a real...
That's what friends are for.
What makes Jim perfect for this, to me, is Jim was my best friend from second grade through high school. He was Greg's best friend all of adolescence, teenage years. And what's weird about that is, of all the people we've done, the whole point of the show is to re-get to know people. Mm-hmm. And so the sad thing is, we probably know just as much as we knew about Sarah Anand or Katie Hawk going in, as we do of our actual childhood best friend. We haven't really seen him much.
Yeah, I've got a lot of pretty basic questions to ask.
And that's a sad point of life. That is really the whole point of this whole show, is how does that happen? I don't know how it happens, but it happened. It happened with Jim. So it's kind of, we were actually struggling trying to figure out how to even get Jim on, because it just felt weird. Because we should know everything about Jim. And we don't. You tell me if this is true of you, Greg, maybe it's not. But to me, okay, everyone they can look back and they can remember a childhood best friend that they thought, as a kid, you always think, we're going to be friends forever. Right. We're going to still do everything together. We're going to find out a way to have a job or a company together. Our kids will know each other. We're going to do that, which rarely ever happens, but we all think it. But Jim was that guy for us, I'm sure. Yeah. And what's crazy also is I still do consider Jim one of my best friends, but we haven't talked much in 20 years. That doesn't seem right, but it's true. The friends you make in high school, especially in middle school, they are those kind of friends forever.
There's literally no one alive who hasn't experienced that, right?
Right. What's cool is all you got to do, whoever's watching this, is take out Jim and put in whoever that friend was that you just thought, and it just didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a totally relatable experience. It's not something that went wrong. It's not like you did something wrong or he did something wrong. It's just the way it is, you know?
Right.
You know, just because you don't know what's going on with someone at this point in time certainly doesn't mean you're not friends, and that's the idea.
Right. You don't have. In fact, Greg and I have been talking to each other way too much lately, and it's ruining us. It's ruining us. There's a limit, and we have found it.
We did go to his wedding.
We did. That was what is awesome, and it's unexplainable. It really is unexplainable. We will talk to Jim, and like no time has passed.
It's riding Jim is just like riding a bicycle.
You get on and you just start pedaling. But what's awesome about that too is that it is still rare. Hopefully everyone has one or two of those at least that you can just jump back, and Jim is one of those. So it is going to be incredible to do so.
Hey!
Nice frozen in the goofy mouth. There it is again. Wait, he's freezing on purpose. No, but he really is freezing.
On purpose, butthole.
You know, our whole childhood, adolescence, teenager was us. But we don't know as much about you as we wish we would, as we should know about you.
Gay or straight?
Gay, straight, or dead. All right, so Jim,
Yeah.
one thing I would like to talk about that's pretty recent in your life, and ironic because Greg has already dealt with it, is you're having twins. Is that true?
It's twin boy, twin girl.
I have boy-girl twins.
And Greg did exactly that. So I thought maybe give Jim some thoughts. I mean, you've actually been through it. There's no way you can be prepared, right?
It's a lot like having one baby, but times two.
Really?
Well, the twins were your first, right?
Yeah, the twins were our first. And there's no doubt about it. Like, having done both, having one is a whole lot easier. Especially because...
I assume the more you had, the easier.
No. You don't love them as much.
Yeah. No, it's like you love them plenty.
The first kid, and so what's got to be weird, Jim, you're going to find with two, is you're just, because you're a first-time parent, you're ultra obsessed with not killing them, you know? And
that's the biggest thing. Like, I would sit there and you stare at them, like, in the crib, making sure they're breathing.
You watch them breathe.
Yeah.
The second kid, I just assumed was breathing.
Right,
like,
exactly. And if they're not breathing, you're like, I already got a kid. So
Michael J. Fox made a great joke once that I'll repeat. And he said that the first kid drops the pacifier, and you get the sanitizer, and you clean it up as best you can before you put it back in the mouth. The second kid you have, you drop the pacifier, you just kind of wipe it on your shirt and put it in his mouth. The third kid you have, you drop the pacifier, you let the dog lick it, and you put it in its mouth.
Exactly.
You start knowing the kid's going to live.
Right.
Wise words from Michael J.
God, you never thought, right? He's a wise man.
Do you have names for the twins picked out?
I will tell you that the Jim or the James as a first name will not be.
Yeah, no. I don't think very many people in our generation do that.
See, most people in our generation, most of us hate ourselves.
Right, I hate myself. I would never want to curse someone to be like me.
No, the only thing I want is for my kid to be nothing like me. That's what my both.
Like the twin thing. This is what I'll say. Like, my wife is like pretty small, and so like two kids was hard to carry. So she was on bed rest, and they were 6 weeks early, and so like that's like. I hope that you don't have any of those challenges.
Oh, you know what was the worst? Gina.
I always thought it was Gina.
Well, in her Gina, she had one boy. Supposedly, it's very rare, but what happens sometimes when the boy is your first one is you get this crazy rash, like insane, itchy rash. So I hope that not.
That's literally the first time I've ever heard that before. So that's interesting.
What is this? You got other shit going on there?
I mean, that's he's a
player. That's the only important thing happening. This is the finale. I got things. You think you don't think you're special guests, do you?
Hi.
Look at her Groovnik shirt she has on there.
Look at that, a true fan. So let's get right to it. We're gonna play a game. It's called Loaded Questions. But first, let us introduce to the people that might not know that are watching this who these two lovely ladies are. I shall introduce Sarah, and Greg, after that, you'll introduce Leah. So, Sarah, Martini Pultz.
Hi, Jim.
Hi, Sarah.
Went to LWC with me and Jim. She's, for me, other than Greg, is probably the person I've kept most in touch with since the high school days. And she's one of the few people that said they wanted to be something and then actually were that something for their life.
This is where me and Chrissy are going to be doing for the rest of our lives.
She wanted to be a firefighter, and now she's a captain firefighter.
So cool.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So that's my intro, Sarah. Greg?
Leah went to Atlantic High School with us, and we were like the punk rock kids. And now Leah is a pharmacist.
Punk
and,
rock pharmacist.
Yeah, exactly.
Has the definite ratio of like the most out fun, somewhere exotic, having drinks with beautiful people of anyone in my entire Facebook feed. So.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, guys, so here we go. We're going to play loaded questions.
All right, loaded questions.
This is how it's going to work. Everyone's going to have a turn. I'll tell you whose turn it is. And what we're going to do is I'm going to read the question, and then all of us will guess what we think that person's answer is. Okay, so question number 1 for Jim.
Yes. Hey, you switched beers again, I see there.
This is Lost Rhino. It's from my local county, Loudoun County, Virginia.
How many buttons are you going to lose as each beer goes?
Well,
Do another button, please. One more button, please. There you go. There we go. I want that shirt off by the time the game's over. Jim, if you could possess any one animal-like quality, what would it be? Now we have to guess. Greg, you can go first. What would you guess Jim will say, his animal-like quality?
Animal quality.
I know what it is. I know my guess. Well, he's already got it. He's got webbed feet. Full duck feet, so he can
2 webbed feet.
swim.
2 webbed toes, I mean.
2 webbed toes, right. But if you could fully get the whole web, you could be quite a swimmer.
This is not reasonable. It doesn't help me swim. Everyone asks me if it helps me swim.
Animal-like
it would
quality.
only help you swim if it fanned out, right? Like,
Right, he would fan it as he would swim.
Quite the opposite. I cannot fan those toes.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the strength of a gorilla. You know?
I mean,
I'm going to go with a cat because they can kind of sneak around and hide in the background, but then they can pounce on you.
The stealth abilities of a cat.
Stealth.
I honestly
This was
was
a good
thinking
answer.
that Sarah said the stealth part, the cat, but I'm going a little odd on it because I know Jim's favorite animal character is probably the penguin from Billy Madison. He'd probably like to be the penguin.
Oh, I see what's going on
holding
here.
cocktails.
Called the zoo.
Ah,
Mine is it's simple. Flying. I'd like to fly.
You like
Oh,
to fly.
that is pretty simple.
Flying is cool.
Okay, now it's Leah's turn. This one's easy. This is when I dance, I look like. Guess her dance move. Let's
I
do-
know it. I know it.
All right, go.
got it.
Do a move. All right.
Yeah, though she was a real dancer in high school, if you remember.
She was an accomplished dancer.
Yes, this isn't going to be.
Oh, I did not know that.
Even
That's
though
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with twerking. You know?
No,
Greg, you have to show the dance. That's part of the move. You have to
No.
twerk.
Oh, yes.
Twerk.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
that's
twerk.
fine with
Yeah.
me.
So do it.
Are you gonna twerk? You said twerking, so you gotta
You
do
have to do it. Turn around.
You're gonna be ashamed of how good I am.
Just do it. I can't wait to see it.
that's not bad. That's not.
Wow.
It's all right. Pretty good. All right, Jim. What do you think your move was?
Might she stand up and utilize her little
We'll see. You got to do it yourself.
thing there as a
Pirouette.
bar for her ballet, and put her leg up?
What? Is that your move?
I love it.
I think she'll do that because she's very limber. She does all that yoga.
Probably should be Jim's because I do the yoga stuff still. So
So
probably
do it.
the like the whole
But she can get it all the way.
like foot
Wow,
thing.
Look
that
at
is
They're
awesome.
like
you.
I was so close.
Yeah,
so close.
perfect close, Sarah.
Greg, what?
See, now you have to really read a question off the card.
No, this is a legitimate card. It's just like all the rest. Greg, what is your favorite place to make whoopee? Remember the old
Is this
the old
the love
game
game?
shows? Always
It's
same
the
thing.
Newlywed Game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. this.
What is Greg's favorite place to make whoopee?
Yeah, that's so easy.
The bathroom at out in at a nightclub or a concert.
So Greg's favorite place to have sex.
No. I'm gonna say
Favorite, weirdest.
in an outhouse.
In an outhouse.
You know, an outhouse is a bathroom.
But it's an outside bathroom where it's
Ew.
way more disgusting. And
Ew.
Greg doesn't care.
It is pretty nasty.
We'll say for Greg, something outdoorsy maybe. A lagoon.
A lagoon.
Lagoon.
I'm gonna say against a pickup truck.
That is a good one.
That's a good guess.
I would say, hiking on a trail, let's say.
So basically a lagoon.
Jim's close. It's outdoorsy.
Jim was on the right track. There was no lagoon.
He did say outdoors something.
Okay, this one's for Sarah. What is Sarah's greatest addiction? Because I know her so well, cocaine. Not cocaine.
I'm going to go adrenaline, because that's why you wanted to be a firefighter.
It could be good.
Kids. Her kids are her greatest addiction. Her kid. Trying
I'm
to
gonna
get
say
No,
anchor.
you don't have kids yet, Jim. You need a break from kids. You don't have an addiction.
Shut up.
I
She's
missed what
addicted.
Leah said.
Oh,
What?
I think her greatest addiction, again, because I know her so well, are anchor wall hangings.
There's a lot behind you. Oh.
Is addicted to it though.
She is addicted to vacations, if I was going to be honest, but I'm going to stick with cocaine.
So when my initial one was
Yeah.
popcorn, and then as you guys went going, I did change it in my head to vacation, but it was popcorn or vacations. Yeah.
Matt Ross. I love it.
She's like constantly on a boat doing something.
Yeah, I think that is an addiction, actually. Like, before I'm even back from another one, I'm planning my next one.
Yeah.
That's how I
Listen,
am.
Okay, is it my turn?
you.
Okay. What would other people be surprised to find out that I enjoy?
I think any person would be surprised to learn that not only one of my friends, but two of my friends both like Rush.
That's
Ugh.
a really good answer. Yeah, I would say Tequila Sunrise, because you loved Tequila Sunrises, and
You'd be surprised? Those are-
they're not very good.
you know.
No, but nobody orders Tequila Sunrise.
I do.
Sarah, what does he enjoy?
I don't know. Well, I mean, if they're on their Facebook, they'll know it, but I don't know that you're so into baseball.
I am in baseball.
I find that surprising, even though Matt's my best friend. So.
Yeah.
That's all true. My first thought is what I have to go with is that I watch House Hunters. It's watching people buy houses, and for some reason,
No, I know what Los Hunters is. Much better than my thought.
And you know
I
my
I
thing
sleep it
about
on every
House.
night, actually.
What?
Do you watch
I
it?
used to fall asleep too every night.
It's a pleasant show.
Well,
Yeah. Greg, can you take off another button, please?
Only got about one left.
You didn't bring us all a beer. I'm a little disappointed.
I
Yeah.
wish I
What
could.
are
This
you
is
thinking now?
this is a local DC brew.
This is for Jim. Back to Jim. We're around the circle again. When this is a real one, for sure. You can't read it, maybe. When I like to dress up sexy, this is what I wear.
Me.
Yeah, so you don't answer yet. Think about your sexy clothes, and we all have to guess what Jim does to dress sexy.
Sarah?
I feel like he can wear anything.
You can't argue with that.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm gonna go with terry cloth robe.
Yes, that's good.
gonna go with just a red thong. Red thong.
That was my second guess.
Sexy, he's just gonna go nude.
No.
Dude, so when you feel sexy,
Generally around the house, I wear a pair of Florida Gators basketball shorts and an Al Horford Boston Celtics basketball jersey.
and that makes you feel sexy.
That's your sexy outfit?
Well, all sexiness happens
Oh,
under that umbrella. So it's
I feel bad for Chelsea then if that's your
yeah,
sexy
that's your sexy.
go-to outfit.
You at least have a red thong under all that?
No.
Kind of.
You'll see once marriage happens. It's not all thongs and terry cloth.
I did actually have one time a guy come out wearing a tuxedo thong, and I couldn't stop laughing at him. It was the weirdest thing.
Well, that's the end of the game.
I love, this is the best night of my life.
So let's say goodbye to the ladies, and Jim and Greg and I are going to finish up the show.
All right, have fun, guys.
Good night.
Thanks. All right, so what do you do for a living? I have no clue. What's that whole?
Can you like reel off almost all the jobs you've had? Because what appears to me is you're like the opposite of Sarah, who like, I want to be a firefighter, and she just does that, and that's it, what she did. Do you enjoy selling, like sales? Is that like a passion, or you just do it because you're good at it and you get money?
The other, yeah.
I have to say, like, I like my job, but like, is it something I'm passionate about? Like, not at all. Is it something I ever imagined I would do in a million years?
Right.
My job in itself, I would love to be making movies and stuff, but I get to edit all day, and I love to edit. So I kind of am doing my passion. It's just not necessarily the exact way I want to do it. But
see, mine's not even anywhere related to my passions in any
But that's
sense,
not good, right? I don't know if that's good. Just for and you admitted you feel drained, so that can't be a good thing to always do just because you're good at it and you make money.
But I mean, isn't that the point of a job in a sense?
And you make money and you're good at it. Yeah, I know.
There's not a lot of passion careers out there, I don't think.
There's a huge universe of people who are talented, and then a very small number of those talented people who are able to make a living doing that thing, you know?
You know, my job is not my passion, but at this point my family is my forefront, and providing is important, you know what I mean?
I think that's better. Like Chris Cornell or whatever. It's not like when you look at people who got past that threshold that everyone thinks that they want, that the end result is like blissful happiness.
No, that I agree with. I've even talked about if I even got to make movies like I wanted to, all the best case scenarios, I would have made one that everyone in the world, at best, think about your favorite movie. You might once a year or two think about it for a second and go, that was pretty good. Like, It doesn't really change your life.
Exactly. I think when you're like laying there on your deathbed, what you're going to think of is like, did you have a successful marriage, or do your kids like you?
Right, the people who knew you, do they actually care that you were gone?
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I'm not saying that some people like, oh, you did really important things, that's great. But like, if you have a job that pays the bills and you don't want to kill your coworkers and you don't hate yourself for doing it, I think that's a success.
For me, in terms of the passion discussion, I mean, obviously, I would say as a younger man, my passion, was music.
Yeah. And you were good at it.
But the favorite band I was ever in, a band called Bolting Like Michael, which was like a emo.
I remember that name.
Nobody came to the shows, but I loved it. I loved everything about it because it was more of a expression of who I was and what I wanted to do. But it's hard when you that was a position I was in where it was like your passion is playing music, but to what end? That's
it. So would you rather be in the Groovenicks and have made it? Would that be better than being with your beautiful wife who's going to have twins imminently? There's no shame in living the simple life compared to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My little brother asked me the other day, actually, it's interesting this comes up, because he said, looking back on it, are you satisfied with your music career? And I said, that's a very interesting question, because the initial gut answer is no, and of course not. You didn't make it.
Right.
How can you say you're satisfied? But when I think about some of the things I got to experience that, even the little bit I experienced, probably 99.9% of bands don't get to experience, or people don't get to experience, traveling and having that paid for by the music or whatever is pretty cool.
Absolutely. But here's my point. I record, as you well know, metal songs for kids.
Like SpongeBob metal. That's good. Bubblebeard.
I get a lot of enjoyment out of that. And you know what? If like 15 people that I don't know hear it, I'm happy with that. Like, it's not like in other words, like, I'm perfectly happy with my job. It's actually a really good job. But like I'm perfectly happy doing that. Like you make your money, and then I get to do my like fun thing that's for me that I don't rely on that because there's no pressure about it.
But to me, it's very important what you're saying in that I think if you don't do a mega dad type thing,
Then
whatever
you go
that is
crazy.
for you, then
Right.
you would that job that you have, you would start to freaking
Absolutely,
hate more
and
than anything.
that's why Matt and I do this. I've always said this. Like I'm not that like concerned with what it is you're into, right?
Right.
But it's like I have trouble understanding people who aren't really into something.
Yeah,
right?
there's people in the world that seem to be into nothing.
Right.
I
Passions are zero.
know people like this.
Yes, and those people I totally cannot get. I can't get why they get up.
Yeah.
Get up out of bed. But I do think what's important is finding whatever that passion is, whatever, extending past your little circle. Like, I love having kids, but that can't be it because then it's just this endless cycle of a guy having someone so that they're able to raise someone, to raise someone, to raise someone. That's a cycle of nothing. That can't be the point.
But it's what it is.
Yeah.
Life is. We give it off to the next guys. And they give it off to the kids after that.
And there's a beauty to that.
I feel like it needs to be more than just.
Well, yeah, I get that impulse. I don't disagree with that impulse at all.
I think everyone needs to have a passion that they actually, in some way, do it. But they have to do it and love it.
Like Matt's passion is about
Oh no! What?
his brother becoming half man, half horse.
See it there on the desk.
Man.
Which is beautiful.
It is beautiful. It's fantastic. He looks good. The
He
hair.
has never looked better.
That's not Mark's real body.
That is not his body. I made him look
It was great.
fantastic. You know what's sad? I mean, it's just one of the things I was talking to Greg about before you came on is just, you know, when you're a kid and you're best friends, and us three, we were best friends. And you just think, stupidly probably, that you're going to do something together. Like, I thought it was going to happen, and of course it didn't happen. It's been 20 years and nothing.
Give up yet.
It's not over yet.
See, but it's also just because, like, you know, like life happens and you go and get into this or that, and somebody else goes and gets into this or that or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm a terrible, friend. I admit that shortcoming of myself. I don't know why. I've never been able to keep up with people well,
I mean, me too. Matt and I are the only ones. Like, and Matt and I, like, literally talk every day, and as Matt mentioned, like, maybe to our detriment.
Awesome.
Which I disagree with.
It's like it's possible there's a limit on how much hair you show on the episode. It's possible. I could be wrong, and that's up to...
It just, it's, I'm a very, I'll remove myself from an equation if I feel uncomfortable in it, I guess, has always been my deal. So it's never meant much of anything to me to just walk away from stuff, which is a huge detriment, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just have always, for several years, been that way. I think I'm getting...
You can call us anytime.
Yeah, and it's, I always love you guys, and I always have and always will.
Absolutely.
Good long-term memories.
Oh,
How many of us had our balls out in that picture at your wedding?
Every single one of us.
Was it all of us?
Yeah.
At what point did you take your ball?
No, there was a picture of our balls.
All the groomsmen with their balls out.
But where is the... I've never seen the picture.
You've seen the picture.
I've
You
never
might
seen
watch
the
it.
picture. You guys had no clue how to do a wedding at that. We were
Well,
all kids.
we were very young and we were getting revenge
Yeah,
on you.
that's the thing.
Very young. I think it's been a good show.
Thanks.
Some of the episodes I've watched, some I haven't.
Well, you know what's good about that, Jim? They'll be there, and you can watch them anytime for the rest of your life, anytime. In like 10 years, you can be like, I never saw that one.
We talk about this a lot. Is that like, whether we see this as a successful project or not, like this idea I had, like in 10 years, it's going to be really interesting
To look back at the time capsule of what we were at this time,
Right.
I think it's been captured very well. That exact in-between point where we're totally adults talking to our high school friends, and then now I'm thinking about future me. 10 years from now, 20 years from now, having this actually exist as a keepsake of what happened during this time in our lives.
And we'll think about how young we were now.
Yes. Oh, we'll be like, holy crap, that was
Like
something.
I did, like I look back on 25, but I thought I was old then or something,
This has been the most fun I've had doing this whole project, truthfully. So.
Good try.
All right. See you, Jim. See you on the flip side.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jim. All right, so that's it, everybody. The show is over. The series is over.
I want to thank both of you for watching.
Yes, we think there's 2.
Yeah. Well, there's 2 of us.
Are we the ones that are watching?
And I know that 2 people watched it.
Yeah. Huh. I feel like it was successful for what we wanted. Do you agree? Or
yeah, but to know that, let me put it this way. Every 7 years, every cell in your body has died and renewed. So literally, you're never frozen in time, right? So while you're not at all the same person that you were 20 years ago, you are built on the person that you were 20 years ago. So it's really interesting to see how someone that you knew, maybe particularly well, a long time ago, has built a new person on top of that person that you knew. Does that make sense?
Right. And we've all, I think if we've proven anything, it's that this process works. So we are doing nothing but encourage all of you who ever watched this show, who's watching this show now, to find friends in your life, start with Facebook, wherever, and try something like this.
What I would think would be the really coolest thing is if someone else did this.
Right.
What if other people did
like
this from their perspective? Like, there's 2 other people we know out there who have a slightly different Venn diagram of friends or whatever. It'd be really cool to see them.
And do a show, you mean? And
yeah,
do their own
absolutely.
Show. And then this could be that catalyst. And then in the end, we just have just multiplying of this idea.
Because I think it's like I'm still stuck on the idea from having started and saw it through to what I think is a pretty good conclusion. It's about like seeing how people can reconnect.
Just actually having a conversation besides what Facebook is giving us and Twitter will make you respect people more, to know that people aren't monsters or morons. And that's
see there, I knew you were trying to plug our next adventure.
We may or may not come back. And
we'll see. We may or may not come back with a slightly different idea based on some of the things we've learned from this.
And whether you guys go out and do this grand experiment yourself, I've been talking to Greg. If any one of you guys are interested, anytime you get contact one of us, we won't record it, but we'll play one of those games, little Would You Rather, little Truth or Dare, little whatever, on Skype. I'm telling you, game playing just over, it's hilarious.
It's a lot of fun. I still think we should...
if you thought the games were fun, and I think you did, they were way more fun in person. They were way more crazy things.
Well, Matt cut out all the good stuff. So.
Right. Yeah. If you want to get part of the good stuff and not have it recorded, contact one of us, and we'll do that someday. Yeah, and don't
unsubscribe or anything, because we're still going to put out like music videos and stuff like that.
Yeah, and who knows if another iteration of this comes out. So don't unsubscribe. Don't take us off of your Facebook page. We just may or may not come back. That'll be a happy surprise for you. All right, so that ends the show. Thanks everyone who did watch and hung with us this whole time.
Facebook Living.
Well, not exactly live. It was faked. And when you can fake Facebook Live, it proves our point. The internet, you can't trust it. You know what you can trust? Face-to-face interactions. So on behalf of Greg, I would like to thank you guys for taking this ride with us. And it's been great getting to know you guys again. So if we happen to run each other face-to-face in the future, don't be a stranger.